Hello and welcome to Firearm Freedom. In today's video, we are going to be talking about 5 things that you must have on your rifle. And before we get this video started, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Gators Eyewear. You guys have been seeing me rep their sunglasses quite a bit in recent content here on the channel, and they don't pay me for these ad placements or anything like that. I just do these because I really like their stuff, and I am an affiliate with them, but I've never felt this strongly about an affiliate product before to actually take up 30 to 45 seconds of your time here in this video. If you want to help support me, click that link down in the description or pinned in the comment section. Pick up some awesome eyewear. They got a bunch of different stuff available, from more on the tactical side to more on the cool retro side, which is a lot more of my style. And they also gave me a discount code to give to you guys. So if you want to click that link and then use the discount code, it's going to get you like 40 bucks off of your sunglasses, and I seriously appreciate your support. These 5 things can really be kind of expanded to any long gun or PCC in your collection. These are very important things to have on a defensive firearm, and that's the biggest thing to remember here. Of course, if it is a cool collector's item or something that is not going to be used in any sort of a defensive situation, it may not need to have these 5 things. The first thing on the list is the rifle. Now, what do I mean by the rifle? Of course, this could also translate to the shotgun or the PCC. Whatever it is that you are interested in using for a self-defense firearm, this translates into. And for my case, the rifle means a good and reliable rifle. That is our base, that is where we are starting from, and that is a very important point to know, and that is why it's number 1 on this list. Everyone is going to have a different price point to make that rifle viable for them. But there's also a lot of folks out there that even saving up is not going to get them maybe the most high-speed rifle out there, just because of their life situation or whatever. So I specifically chose this rifle to show off in this video because it is a Ruger AR-556. Now, this has a lot of different things going on here that we're going to talk about, but the base rifle is still phenomenal. It can be had for generally sub 800 bucks these days, and a lot of the time you can get it even lower than that on a deal. So it's a solid rifle. It's going to be durable. It is cold hammer forged on the barrel, nitrided in the bolt carrier group, and those features, again, are nice to have. So base rifle, got to be something reliable. It doesn't have to be something super expensive, but whatever it is, whether it's a Palmetto State Armory or something like a Ruger or a Smith & Wesson rifle, you really want to make sure that it is reliable for you. Bring it to the range, practice with it. If you have any issues with that rifle, I would probably go about trading it in, selling it, or whatever to get yourself a more reliable rifle for defense. Next up, we have sights, and this is where it's going to be a little bit different for a lot of folks out there. On this Ruger right here, I have good sights. That is the most important thing to have to get that rifle to go bang accurately downrange. A lot of people discount iron sights these days. I understand, trust me, that as you age, your eyes are not going to be as good, and therefore iron sights may not be the best for you. But if you still have good eyesight, iron sights are absolutely able to get the job done. They are fast, they are accurate, and they are also incredibly durable. You don't have to worry about understanding how to use them, understanding how to adjust everything in this new red dot that you might have or optic. It's pretty straightforward on how to adjust these at the range, and also you don't have to worry about any batteries dying. These things are just always going to be on and working. So I don't discount iron sights. I still use them all the time. On this rifle, which I would absolutely consider a defensive rifle, I still have iron sights, and that is just fine. I'm sure a lot of folks are going to say, well, hey, I can't use iron sights, and I don't want to worry about my eyesight being too bad, so I want to get a red dot or holographic sight. I have an EOTech on this. This is a rather expensive holographic sight, but there are a lot of affordable options out there. The biggest thing is just understanding battery life. Now, we all understand at this point that most of the battery life numbers out there on the market are for marketing purposes. However, I would at least go with a red dot that is going to get you a battery life capable of 1 year. So, and that's 1 year at a reasonable setting, so that way you don't have to worry about grabbing the rifle and having that not be on and be dead. And again, the one thing to consider is that if you're going with a red dot, you still want to have some flip up iron sights, so that way if the red dot is dead, you still have a way to shoot the rifle. Now, of course, you can use the window, but at the end of the day, if you have a red dot, you probably still have to have irons. So that's something to think about, and why, again, if you're on a budget, the irons are one thing to absolutely have. The third thing on this list that a lot of people forget about when you are a beginner is a white light. That is so incredibly important to have on your rifle. Now, it's really easy to fall down a rabbit hole of what flashlight works best for me. Ultimately, the common theme here is going back to reliability. Is it a reliable, good name flashlight that is going to just simply work when I need it to? You don't have to pay $300 for a Surefire just because that's what everybody else is doing. For me, personally, I love the Streamlight ProTac series of lights. This one is an HLX. Just because of the price point, it allows me to outfit multiple rifles, and if you're on a budget, it's an incredibly reliable light. Pro tip for the reliability on any flashlight, if at all possible, I know it's not as high speed, stick with the regular tail cap. That's going to prevent you from NDing the light, which happens a lot, or negligently discharging the light. And essentially what that means is on a pressure pad, it's really easy to grab that rail to pick up the rifle and blind yourself quickly, or in a very bad situation, if you're trying to conceal your position, it is pretty easy to grab that and negligently discharge the white light, which is a really bad day. Having a regular tail cap will help you avoid that, and it's still easy to get to. If my hand is in this position, I can press up, get to that white light. If I am shooting with my non-dominant side, I can again reach over, get to that white light, no problem. Something else you can do is get an offset 1-inch light mount, and that's going to allow you to use any handheld flashlight that has 1-inch diameter tube or around there to put it on there and get it offset to one side or another. If you're on a budget, that might give you a white light for your rifle that's reliable for about 70 or 80 bucks. A white light helps you identify what is downrange in a dark environment. And most of the time, if you are using a firearm in defense, it is probably going to be in a dark environment. So having something to identify, is this just a drunk neighbor that stumbled into the wrong house? Is this your kid that came home a little bit late when they shouldn't have, and they're trying to be quiet and they're knocking things over? Or is this somebody that is threatening your life and your family's? Number 4 on this list is a good sling. That is very important to have. It allows you, one, if you are just using the rifle for training at the range, to sling the rifle and just kind of take a second, right, to give yourself a break from holding that all the time. I do think that it is important to have a rifle sling over your person when you are potentially using that for defense. Why? Because it prevents the rifle from being taken from you in that situation, which is not really good. A lot of the time, a confrontation is a fight, and it can absolutely go to a hands-on fight. And typically, you don't really want that rifle being taken from you, especially if you are moving around the house. It is a little easier for somebody to go ahead and grab onto that and try to take it from you. So having a good sling is ideal. On the opposite side of that coin, if you don't have enough time to get that sling over your person, you don't want it just kind of dangling around like this. So there are a few different ways to actually wrap the sling around your rifle. It's still loose, but you can kind of wrap it in that direction and pull it tight, and it's going to allow you to use your rifle and actually still have your sling in a position that's quickly deployable. There's a lot of products on the market that hold the sling close to the rail, something to get it tight on the rifle when it is not in use, but still able to be quickly deployed. That's incredibly important because, again, you don't want the sling getting in the way if you have to use your rifle. Finally, number 5 on the list, and the final item that I believe is the most important to have with your defensive rifle, is magazines. And when you are looking at magazines, this is so very important. Now, these are D&H mags, but I have this as an example of just good aluminum mags. And then I also have these Lancer mags here. I am a fan of Lancer magazines. I think they are pretty solid, and you'll notice that I don't have Magpul magazines in my hand right now. Magpul magazines are still excellent. I just, quite frankly, did not have one immediately able to grab for this video. So these are the primary examples today. I love aluminum Stanag magazines. I think they are excellent, and I love the way that they fit in my placards for my plate carrier, my chest rig, whatever. But you want to make sure, especially if you're using surplus Stanag magazines, they are reliable, they've been serviced, because that's very, very important. And when you're looking at the polymer or polymer hybrid magazines like these Lancers, these are pretty solid because you have metal reinforcement at the top, but you still have polymer on the bottom, so they're a little bit lighter, and they're also translucent in this case, so you can see exactly how many rounds are loaded if it's been a minute since you've loaded the magazine. But this is something that I see a lot of people forget. They'll buy the rifle, they'll spend all this money, and they don't really know a lot about magazines, so they'll spend like $5, $7 on a bargain bin Pro Mag or something like that that is just not reliable. So whatever magazine you get, that is vital to that rifle running reliably, so it's important to make sure it's a good one. Guys, that is it, and that is going to wrap up this video for 5 things that you must have on a defensive rifle. If you guys have any other questions about these things, or you have other things that you would like to add to the list, please leave that down below in the comment section, and I absolutely will get back to you. While you're down there, head up to the description for the ways to support the channel, and as always, stay tuned for more great videos coming soon.